L'chaim. My name is Insane Raven, and for the past 4 weeks, we've been doing a mini series all the month of October, doing games that center around the idea of water, the idea of hydrophobia. Something so life giving, something that I've been pouring in between glasses, in between the beginning of every single episode, like an asshole, for a while now. And I don't think it's surprising that not only is the ocean a thing of the unknown, something so deep and unfathomable that I can't even say the word properly, but more importantly, it is something that captures fiction writers all the same. And it's hard not to see how tentacles and aliens and otherworldly creatures all seem to mix at the bottom of the ocean. My name is Insane Raven, and this is Tale to the Hunt, the bi-weekly podcast where I take you through one of my platinum hunts, showing you tips and tricks on every trophy, or giving my personal opinion on memories of said trophies, all the way up to the platinum. This week, to close out our hydrophobia month, we're going to be talking about The Sinking City, a game heavily inspired by Lovecraftian horror. Now, I'm going to give a bit of a spoiler now, even though it is heavily implied and even teased in trailers. There is no Cthulhu in this game. He gets mentioned here and there with statues and pictures, but he isn't the great evil. And who is, I won't tell you here. After all, if the only thing that you know is more unknown, I think you'll be primed and ready for Lovecraftian horror. I love Lovecraft. I love his works. I don't love him as a man, he was an asshole, but then again, it was the olden times. But the idea of psychological horror of just something so not quite describable, is chilling. And with so many of his monsters coming out of the sea or from the stars above, it's not hard to stretch that fear into the water itself, its depths. You play as a detective, going through the city of Oakmont in attempts to solve a wide variety of missing persons cases that brings you to the city. Around every nook and cranny, there are dubious characters and monsters that consume your sanity, might just shoot you given the chance. The Sinking City is far from a perfect game, and with the men and women at Frog Whales, who also did all the Sherlock Holmes games, it's not hard to see that this was always a project of love, being crafted deftly by their hands. This game isn't perfect, far from it. In fact, it does so many things half right that I almost wish they were able to fully delve in to the insanity, to the mystery that lurks just beneath the surface of this game. There are so many good beginnings that if a sequel was to ever be made, and don't get me wrong, I highly doubt it, I think it could be the game it was meant to be. But are you tempting fate? The first trophy on our list of having your fortune read. Gameplay in this game consists of traveling from location to location and looking for clues, solving riddles, and putting together puzzles and sequence events to understand just what happened here. This trophy requires you to go into a bar where our best sector stories eventually take place and interact with some of the locals. Oakmont isn't friendly to those it doesn't know, and talking to the gypsy in the corner will definitely give you a trophy, definitely give you some secrets on the future, if you're willing to pay, that is. Oakmont is a city that's long been forgotten from the mainland, secluded with monsters and demons encircling. They have no patience for money. Only the things they can use: bread, bullets, clean water. So will you pay to earn tempting fates? Or does my description have you hook, line, and sinker, solving the first case, earning your second trophy in the sinking city? Maybe not. But after this first case, after you've met some of the characters, the city begins to open up. And yes, you can go anywhere. You won't survive long in some of the more busy city streets, but you can go there if that's your wish. When you eventually do have to make it to the newspaper, you have the opportunity to give an interview. I'd give one. It earned you the extra trophy, and might be worth sticking around. After all, they do have intelligence archives, and there is a certain pleasure of finding things out. Another trophy you can get by looking around. To be fair, this is a tutorial trophy, and it's not like you're getting out of it anytime soon. Next, you'll probably go to a doctor. After all, you've seen some terrible things, and well, it's only worth doing. First, do no harm. It's a Hippocratic oath, or at the very least what it's supposed to summarize to. If not, I shall not play at God. But here, first do no harm is simply a trophy for agreeing to be the experiment in an experimental treatment. You'll be fine. Maybe. But don't worry. Take a deep breath. Get that trophy. And go below the surface for the first time. Submerge yourself in the darkness of the waves. It's a decent trophy, and this is the trophy that sends shivers down my spine. I don't have hydrophobia, and I don't even have a fear of the dark. I'm quite comforted by it by now. But being out there under the waves with just prickles, not Pringles. I'm not sponsored by Pringles. Prickles of light. Seeing the shapes, otherworldly. You start to understand. Don't worry though. It's a story trophy. You can't miss it. You can't miss no honor among thieves. You have to do a side mission where you find Sydney, his location, his hideout, his corpse. Find a way to take his stash. Earn it, you monster. Both worlds. Another side mission trophy. Because after all, a detective never has one case on his load. Maybe he has 6. Maybe 7. Who can tell? I certainly can't. But this is going to be a trophy that you end up creating a save file. Like I said, this game is good. It's not worth playing twice over for. Especially not when it glitches out on you a bunch of times. I'll talk to you about that. But both worlds, humor, grieving mother. You have a choice. Give a mirror. Might be haunted, might be possessed, might be a portal to another dimension. To a grieving mother who only wants her baby boy back. Or be a man of your word. Uphold your agreement with a different character. A spoiler character. And get the family reunion trophy for your reward. Be honest when given the chance. Betray the warehouse guard's trust. Get him to divulge his secrets and throw him under the bus. After all, he shouldn't have lied. He should have been working. Reanimator. Satisfy curiosity. When underneath the university and in a lab, there's a great beast and a red button. Push the red button. Don't die. Or die. Doesn't matter. You got a trophy for pushing a button. Be forewarned though. This trophy in particular can lock you out of other events. I know it did for me. It's quickly why I stopped caring. I stopped caring about getting them all done in multiple playthroughs. Instead, just made multiple save files. It's not how I envisioned it, but you know. Compliments to the chef. Help a diabolical professor with his sinister plan. I choose not to speak of it. But this is a trophy that, once you know it exists, simply requires you to make a choice. No skill involved. Use protection. Challenge the horror of the Redemption Church. It is quite gruesome. And one of the only boss fights you'll find in this sinking city. Et tu, Brutus? Punish the upstarts. Sic semper tyrannius. Dethrone the patriarch. The patriarch. I can't say words. Another split decision. You'll know when it's time. Reboot a save file. They'll tell you what to do. With who you're sitting with. It's a kind of magic. Now, I did forget this trophy exists, so you'll have to forgive me for not doing so earlier, but this is a period piece after all, and Lovecraft was most certainly not a nice man. How then is it surprising that you meet the Imperial Wizard, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan? Meet him, make a mockery of him, ask him to show you a trick. After all, he is a wizard. Not too deep for me. Study all the frescoes of the Temple of Dagon. The sea of Salathkona will open the way. Many will try and perish when the stars are right and the dreamer stirs in his house. One will succeed. The daughter shall be freed, and from her swollen room the dreamer shall spawn once more. So yeah, there's that. Very bloodborne, in my opinion. All sewn up. Punish Granny Weaver. This is another side mission. Personally, this is when I thought the game shone the best. When it was just doing actual Lovecraft things. When it wasn't telling an overarching story. Is when I liked the game the most. When it was fully invested in its Lovecraft and not the story it was trying to tell. What could go wrong? Have a ritual conducted on you. Crime, no punishment. Just kill the old lady. No big deal. Double tap. Finally commit the crime you were accused of. Story mission. The end justifies the means. Kill the priestess. Or still salty. Another choice. Neither one of these fights go down without a guilty conscience at the very least. Defeat a little girl without playing fair. Now, this trophy is quite sinister indeed. You have to kill the priestess, but only after you befriend her, after making certain she won't turn on you. Damage control. Prevent the last self-emulation. Now, the next 3 trophies require you to make a final decision. And if you are playing this game fair and right, and as it was meant to be played, this will require you 3 different playthroughs. Or you can just do what I did and do a save file. I did 3 of them. I'm out of here. Leave the city and the world to their fate. The stars are right. End the cycle. Leap of faith. Restart the cycle. Choices that on the surface mean nothing. And choices that I chose first, accordingly to my detective, whose name doesn't matter. It only matters what he did. And in my story, he left the city of Oakmont. He left us to face our doom. But those 3 trophies, my dear, will end up getting you the all evidence collected trophy. Complete every challenge the city of Oakmont has to offer. It's a short list. It's a short video. In the end, there are only 29 trophies. Definitely on the shorter end. And it definitely has a lot of self-awareness. If you know where you're looking. If you know Frog Wells. It is definitely a game that I enjoyed playing. I got into all of the Cthulhu and Lovecraftian elements, mostly thanks to a D&D group called the Ox Adventurers. If you want to watch their stuff, go to Outside Xbox and Outside Oxtra, and they have full playlists. I highly recommend it. Cannot recommend it enough. I'd say tell them that I sent you, but they don't know who I am. But no, I got really into Cthulhu and really into Lovecraftian horror. And I figured, hey, I know I'm already decided to do a hydrophobic month. Seems like perfect timing. Let's see what Lovecraftian water-themed horror waits. And I found The Sinking City. And then, a whole bunch of other stuff happened. Like, what? Like, I did not think that this game was going to have, legal trouble and legal baggage with it when I started recording all the videos. Not exactly what I had imagined was going to happen. So, you know. But that's all I have for you guys. I hope that you've enjoyed our little water well detour into hydrophobia. And if you are suffering from hydrophobia, I can't blame you. I was almost swept away in a flash flood in a truck once upon a time. The water seemed at the beach to be terrifying when I was younger. The waves overcoming my head, and I almost was drowned in a pool. So I totally understand. And no one is telling you to dive back in. Take it at your own pace if it is something you want to do. Don't worry. The water's fine. Until next time.